Hi, this is Miss Wright, and I am going to go over the vocabulary words for List 3 of Great Expectations. The first word is animosity, and animosity is... Pause. Hi, this is Miss Wright, and I am going to review the vocabulary words for List 3 of Great Expectations. The first word is animosity. Animosity means extreme hatred, a feeling or spirit of hostility and resentment. So if you have animosity towards someone, you really don't like them in a very deep way. This is not something casual. This is something that's very severe. Animosity is very severe hatred. The next word is assiduity, and it's one of my favorite words. It means diligence, constant personal attention, great care and attention in doing something. I like this word because it's what I try to do every day when I come to work, and it's what I want my students to do, is to be assiduous, to work hard, be diligent and thoughtful in everything that they do. So assiduity is one of our favorite words. Avarice. Avarice has to do with greed, an unreasonably strong desire to obtain and keep money. An avaricious person is a greedy person. Think of a miser, someone who stores up his house with gold or hides money under the mattress. Doesn't give to charity, doesn't share with others. Avarice, okay, meaning greed. Averse. Averse is opposed to something. I am averse to the legalization of marijuana. I am averse to drunk driving or drinking and driving. Strongly opposed or disliking something is averse. Commiseration has to do with suffering along with someone, having great pity for someone, sympathy for someone, so much so that you almost feel their pain. So it's a feeling of sympathy for and an understanding of troubles of someone else. A sociopath cannot commiserate with anyone. They don't have feelings for other people, but all of the rest of us should be able to show sympathy and compassion for others. Commiseration, you might send a card, you might call and ask somebody, you might how they're doing, you might go by their house, you might attend a funeral for in support of a bereft family. So commiseration is this feeling, and it usually moves you to action. Okay? Corroborated, supported by other evidence, to give or represent evidence of the truth of something. Corroborated. So you'll hear this in a lot of crime shows. You need corroborating evidence, meaning you need evidence that supports what you're saying. And actually, when you're writing an essay, you need corroboration. You need evidence that supports your main idea. So it's supported by other evidence, to give or represent evidence of the truth of something. Corroborated. If I am under investigation, but I have someone who can testify as to my whereabouts and give corroborating evidence, then I would probably not be indicted. Deprecation. You might have heard of self-deprecating humor, and that's when you make fun of yourself. So deprecation is belittling, critical commentary or strong disparagement of somebody or something. So sometimes we engage in self-deprecation because it's easier to do than to hear people making fun of us. It's almost easier for us to make fun of ourselves. But deprecation is when you put someone down or put something down that give it very little value. Disdainfully is scornfully, extreme contempt or disgust for something or somebody, disdainfully. To behave in a disdainful way is to treat others as though you think nothing of them, you don't value them. Maybe workers in a hotel, you act like you're better than they are. Uh, these would be disdainful. To treat someone maybe homeless or someone who's poor as though that person were not as good a human being as you are is disdainful behavior. Okay? Eliciting. Bring about, draw forth, to cause or produce something as a reaction or response to a stimulus of some kind, to bring something to light or cause something to be disclosed, especially by process of questioning or research. So to elicit is to draw out. I want to elicit response from my students. So I'm going to ask them critical thinking questions to make them think and to draw them out, to help them to come forth with answers. Expatriate. Expatriate, the verb is to banish, to exile. Expatriate, the noun, is a citizen who has left his or her own country to live in another country, usually for a prolonged period of time. In Great Expectations, we're going to meet someone at the end of stage 2 who is an expatriate and not of his own choice. Expatriated, the verb, is removed from residence in one's native, it should say native land. To move from residence in one's native land. Okay? The next word is extenuate. Extenuate, you may have heard of the phrase extenuating circumstances. And if you are once again accused of a crime, but there are extenuating circumstances, sometimes that can get you off, or sometimes that can get you a lesser sentence. Excuse to make a mistake or wrongdoing seem less serious than it first appeared by providing a mitigating excuse for it. So to extenuate is to be able to show that there's something that makes your offense or your crime less serious than it would appear. Extenuating circumstances, if someone, if you murdered someone, but that person had attacked you. Self-defense is an extenuating circumstance. If they had attacked someone in your family and you were defending that person in your family, even though you committed murder, that would be an extenuating circumstance that would definitely make your crime less serious, and you may not even be charged with a crime for self-defense. Okay? Forbearance. Forbearance is tolerance, patience, tolerance or self-control, especially in not responding to provocation, which is, so if someone is bothering you in class or annoying you in your personal life and you try to ignore them, you try to be patient and not lash out or yell or fight, then you are showing forbearance. And we all need to show forbearance, else we would live in a much more hostile world. Sometimes you just have to let things go and move on. You can't engage in every conflict that comes up. Forfeiture is deprivation, the act of giving up something, something that has been taken away or has had to be given up as a penalty for breaking a law or contract. Now, we all know that if you're playing a game, if you're in a sport and you're playing a game and the other team doesn't show up, we call it a forfeiture. They've automatically lost that game by not showing up. Or if they come and they don't have enough players on the field, it's a forfeiture. So when you have to give up something as a penalty, it is called a forfeiture. And it's also a legal term where if you don't pay your bills, your house will be taken away in forfeiture. Okay? There you go. Fortuitously means by accident or by chance, happening by chance, especially giving rise to a fortunate occurrence. So it can be lucky, something that happens that was unplanned, but it was lucky. It turned out really great. So you might have been walking down the street and you look down and you see an envelope, you open it, and there are like tickets to a Beyonce concert, and you're like, oh my goodness, what a fortuitous event. Somebody I have tickets. I can go to see Beyonce. Really, you should turn the tickets in. Anyway, molestation is trouble, bother, to pester, bother or disturb a person or animal. So if you molest a dog or a cat, it will bite you or scratch you. If you bother a person or molest a person, he or she may lash out against you. We know that it can also be to molest a child is a criminal offense. Sexual molestation is a criminal offense. So to trouble or bother is molestation. Obdurate. Obdurate means stubborn, unyielding, hard-hearted, not giving in to persuasion, not easily persuaded or influenced. So someone who has their own mind will not listen to the opinions of others. Once they get an idea in their head, they're just fixed on that idea. We would describe that person as obdurate. Persevere. To persevere is to continue on no matter what. To overcome obstacles is to persevere. To persist steadily in an action or belief, usually over a long period, and especially despite problems or difficulties. So many times people who are handicapped or people who have learning disabilities have to persevere. They have to work a little harder than the rest of us to be successful, but perseverance is also what makes us stronger. Repugnance. Repugnance is dislike, a very strong feeling of disgust about something. So if you feel repugnance towards certain types of behavior, repugnance towards profanity, a repugnance towards people who behave in an inappropriate manner, it's a dislike, a very strong feeling of disgust about something. And then solvency is the ability to pay, having enough money to cover expenses and debts. You notice in stage 2 of Great Expectations, Pip and Herbert are having a problem with their solvency. They are racking up debts that they cannot pay. And the word for that is called insolvent. If you are insolvent, you have more debts than you have money to pay. And I think this is our last word. Vestige is trace, the slightest amount, a trace or sign of something that is no longer present. So the vestige of something is just like the dregs of it, the very last smallest amount of something that's about to go away. And or something that has already disappeared, like almost the shadow of something that has already disappeared, which is a weird way of saying it. So I want every vestige of dirt picked up out of this room, or the crime scene showed not even the vestige of DNA evidence. All right, I think that is all the words for list 3, and I hope you can use this to study. Have a great day.